Hey, good morning. How are you? So, this came up in some posts I made today, and I wanted to share it with you. I see people struggling with weight, with self-confidence, with relationships, all this kind of stuff. And I know this because I've dealt with it in myself. So I want to share what I found. So all the things that we are, call it, reflecting into our life, relationships that aren't working out, or being overweight, which is an armoring of self and making us unworthy of having relationships, or of being unhealthy, or lack of fitness, or these kind of things. These are all stories that our inner child has been given at some point in our life. I will guarantee every single human being on this planet, I believe, to even exist on this planet or incarnate onto this planet, you had to agree to take some level of trauma and some level of really negative self-image programming to live here. And if you didn't take it on, you were programmed it probably from the minute you were born, with your parents, with society, with TV, with programming, with government, with religion, etc. And it has affected your ability to love yourself. That's simple. Now, these things are inserted as a child. Simple things like, oh, you have to please mom to be happy, because when mom's angry, it's hard. And she will scream and yell and hit, or dad. It can be anybody. These are our parents as wounded children that have taught us to be more wounded children as we progress. This is essentially the root of what we call lineage trauma. Just these programs that are handed down. Some say it might be demonic or some kind of dark energy or whatever, but even just the words that came from your parents. Money doesn't grow on trees. Oh, everything is scarce. All these kind of things are all programs that were given to us. Like, I see it in my parents. They were born right after the Dirty 30s, so their parents were scavengers. They would take everything and they'd hoard stuff, and they were worried that at any moment the world was going to collapse because there was no food, no money, no whatever. These are programs that got stuck in our parents, and you may find them in your own self, and you don't even know that it's happening. And these are part of our inner child. So when we're up to the age of 7, everything that we are told, we take in without a filter. It's part of early childhood development. You can go look it up. It's scientific. Everything goes into the brain without a filter. Otherwise, the kids, you know how much kids ask questions? They would be asking questions on everything. Why is that? Why does this happen? Why does this work? Blah, blah, blah. We already deal with it, but it has to happen, because it's like, they learn by seeing, they learn by listening, they learn by touch. Why does a little infant want to put everything in its mouth? It wants to taste it and feel the texture, and that's one of their deepest sensory organs. So to be in a human body, we have to do this. How do you learn to walk? How do you do all this kind of stuff? Well, you watch mom and dad walk, and you watch mom and dad eat, and watch mom and dad feed. Well, what are the things that your mom and dad say every day that goes directly into your ear, and now you believe, and they're angry, and they're frustrated, and they're sad, and work is hard, and all this kind of stuff? It just goes straight into us, and we don't have a choice at that time. But now you're an adult. Guess what? We need to start talking to our inner child. That little child that had this program is not sure, and it's constantly trying to reinforce this program. We might call it self-sabotage. We might call it other things, or unworthiness, or whatever. Well, that program came into you from your parents, and it came in from society and programming on TV. What does the news do? It just tells you that there's a war here and downtown crime is blah and blah, 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 blah. And you just get, the world is scary and the world is bad, which isn't true. You haven't experienced it, but you're experiencing it through what you see in the TV. So sit down with your inner child. I invite you right now to just spend a second and say, hey, inner child, are you in there? Mine's in there. And for a long time, he was a sad little boy and angry, and always got hurt by women, and just had an angry mom, and all that kind of stuff, because my mom was damaged and injured before. I don't blame her, but lots of things affected her, which made her protective and emotional and other things. She literally had a brain aneurysm that destroyed the part of her brain that controlled her emotions because she was so deeply affected by her past. And God said it destroyed this thing so that this wouldn't happen to her. Not all of us have that opportunity to have a brain aneurysm to basically do this stuff. So we're now doing the inner work with our inner child. Our inner child needs to trust us. And can you imagine the number of times that you have not done things, or you self-prostituted yourself, or you got into situations that hurt you, or self-sabotaged? Your inner child is not really sure if you're safe. This is kind of crazy. We have an adult self and we have an inner child. It's kind of like we're schizophrenic sometimes. When we get scared and angry or triggered, our inner child comes out. And how often, when you're triggered, do you see a side of yourself that you're not okay with? And do you put it in a cage? Do you lock it up and say, hey, that's not going to come out again because whatever? That's a part of your inner child. Your inner child has been angry about a lot of things. As a child, can you imagine walking around teeter-tottering like a little toddler, wanting to touch that beautiful little vase in the corner, and somebody comes up and slaps you on the hand and says, no. Is that negative aversion or what? So how many times when the things that you wanted were taken out of your reach because the parent was trying to be nice and love you and all this kind of stuff, but you didn't see it as love. It was an act of violence and pain and suffering. So everything that they want just is about to happen. Guess what? Slap. You're whacked on the back of your hand. And you as a child didn't know any better. So what kind of negative inversion is that going to put in your head? So what I want you to do is start to talk to that inner child. And there's going to be a lot of primal emotions in there. Start to talk to them. Just say, hey, where are you hiding? And you're going to find out that it's probably hiding in the deepest, darkest recesses of you, or locked in a cage because it's been angry sometimes and you couldn't hold space for it, or you didn't know you needed to hold space for it. There's nothing wrong in all these things that have happened. Every single human being on this planet is dealing with the same stuff. What I'm suggesting is go say, hey, where are you? And find out where they are. And actually, Ho'oponopono is something that I use. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. But the deeper is actually talking what they call the Unihipili. It's the inner child. And there's this whole story where it talks about the inner child as going through the storms and all this kind of stuff, and you invite your inner child in and you start to clean his face, her face, with a little white cloth, and just start cleaning all the darkness and the dinge and all the stuff that's been going on for all this time. You're going to find your inner child might be dirty and angry and messed up on the outside, but it just wants to be seen. So I'd suggest you go in and ask for that inner child. Reach out to them. Say, hey, can you come sit here with me? Can you sit here in my lap? That's what that Unihipili I was talking about in the Ho'oponopono. They sit on your lap and you start to clean their face and you start to see that little smile underneath. And this inner child is just wanting to be seen, but it's been dirty and it's been stuck in the cage and bad and too many times. So now you're going to start to give them the love that they need in the way they need it, which is really, really simple. Just smiling at them, maybe cleaning their face, and just the first time might be just that simple. No words, no nothing, just smile. Are you safe? That's what the inner child wants to know. Are you safe? Are you going to defend me? Are you going to stand up for me? Are you going to protect me now? And then as time goes on, they're going to sit with you more easily, and they're going to be ready to come out, and they're going to have a smile maybe instead of a scowl or tears. And you're going to start to ask them what they want. Stroke their head. Stroke your own head while you're doing it. Cover them with a blanket. Start to make them feel like they're welcome. What's going on? Are you scared? I see you're afraid. And you're going to start to make a relationship with that part of yourself. And as you start to make a relationship with that part of yourself, you're going to ask them, what's going on? Why do you feel sad? Why do you feel scared? Why are you angry? Why are you anything? And then there's going to be this little light that starts to grow inside your heart and your chest. And it's going to be like, oh, somebody's listening to me. And you're literally, in a way, reparenting yourself. If that sounds crazy, it's a real thing in the spiritual development world where you can actually make that in other people. You can say, hey, here's my surrogate mother. Here's my surrogate father. I'd love to have you tell me good things about myself. And just have them lay in their lap have you lay in their lap, and they'll stroke your hair, and they'll give you back that positive affirmation that maybe you didn't get as a child because your parents were sad or angry or addicted or on high blood or antidepressants or all these kind of things. They got kind of mangled up by the world too, and their inner child didn't have a good host or good parents. And you don't know. That's what I call lineage trauma. All these things that never really got done properly ended up in you. And you're here trying to find a process within you to feel better about yourself. And I'm going to guarantee, as that inner child starts to trust you, it's going to start telling you secrets about what's going on inside. And it's stuff that's in your subconscious mind that you don't even know, that's self-sabotaging you and shooting you and telling you you're not worthy and not good enough all day long, because it got that from its parents. And it's not really sure. And it's got all these things that it's translated. Oh, that person broke up with me. I must not be good enough, or I'm fat, or I'm ugly, or I'm too angry, or whatever that story is that you say about yourself. Most likely it's not true. But who are you going to talk to about it when it hurts and it's so dark? Talk to it with your inner child. That inner child took it right to heart. It has no filters, remember, and it has no way to protect itself. But you're the adult. You're the parent now. Guess what? Talk to it. I love you. I love you. I forgive you. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. That's what we're doing with the Ho'oponopono. We're working with the inner child and talking to it, even though don't really know we're doing it at the time. But that inner child, seeing your forgiveness, seeing your thanks, seeing your love, all this kind of stuff, it's starting to trust and know that you're love and you're good and you want better for both of you. Once your inner child trusts you and smiles and giggles when you show up and asks them to sit on your lap and you hug them, something changes. When you literally hug them, you're hugging yourself. You're going to feel this warm glow inside, and you're going to start to say, holy shit, I've been angry for a long time. And we're going to give love to that anger. That hurt child is going to start to trust you. And guess what? You're going to learn, as this now adult that has all this awareness, you got a sword, you got a shield, you can protect the hell out of both of you. And that inner child is going to remind you of times that maybe you gave up your love and you didn't know any better and all this kind of stuff. And then you're going to be able to forgive yourself for those crazy circumstances with mom and dad or somebody that hurt you. We are moving through it with self-love in the most incredible way self-love can be, giving it to ourselves first. Why do we call it self-love? This is loving every single thing that's ever happened to you, good or bad, in whatever judgment, and making that inner child feel blessed and happy and in its innocence and purity again, so it can giggle and laugh. And you're going to find it comes out of you. Does not feel good. A little laugh or a little giggle. It's like, oh, I don't have to be serious anymore. I don't have to make up for all the sins that I did, which weren't even sins in the first place. That's the craziness of this world. So spend some time with your inner child. I'm going to give some little touch-ups out throughout the week on my page here, and just try them and see what happens. Do some giggling, do some fun, breathe, have some excitement, go out and go out in the grass and enjoy the sunlight and go water a plant. Water yourself. When do you water yourself? And I'm not talking put what do you call it, sprinkler in your shoes. I'm saying, do you shower? Do you have fun? Do you play? How do you feed yourself? If you're a plant, how do you grow? And yeah, we got lots of shit down in the bottom of the pot because we've dealt with it our whole entire life. Well, use it as fertilizer now. Don't think it as how stinky I am and this is awful and I can't ever go out again or where. Sit in your love. Start to sit with that inner child. I just want you to close your eyes right now for a second and just say, I hold you, my inner child. I love you, my inner child. And just see if that inner child will come sit in your lap and how warm and cozy that feels. Put your arms around that inner child and see what happens. Just start to talk to her or him and you'll be surprised. It worked for me. I lost like 50 pounds last summer just by starting to love myself and moving through all this shit. And I did not go exercise extra. I did not do anything. I just basically started to love myself. And I went from size 36 pants to 32 pants, which to me makes me feel awesome. And I'm happy to take my shirt off and walk around, even though I still got a few little pudges and nudges here. I'm excited about myself because I love myself. I want to be in this body. There's lots of stuff out there that's going to keep beating you down and all this kind of stuff. So you're going to have to maintain it. But have trust with that inner child, and then they'll come and sit with you. They won't hide. They won't be angry. You won't get triggered. These energies will eventually bubble up in a safe and healthy way. And then that child will trust you, and it doesn't have to hold on to all that shit. And you'll change, and your armor will reduce. That's literally fat on your body, and your stories, and you will love and rise up, and you will change. So I love you. Do you love you? Can you say that out loud to yourself? I love you. To yourself. I love me. I love me. I love me. Do you believe it? I wouldn't smile afterwards if I didn't love me. But yeah, there's a lot of shit that you have to wade through. And I see it in people all the time. And that's why I'm here, to help see people, their inner selves, rise up and shine. Love you. You deserve to be loved. Talk to you soon.